I've been and got a tattoo. Did it hurt? Let's find out. So my daughters and I've got two daughters, Charlotte and Fran. We decided we was going to have a family tattoo. We was all going to go out and get a tattoo together, all something of a similar theme. And we've both of my daughters have used this tattoo artist before. His name's Ben. He works from a salon in Derby called Inca Studios. Really top class tattoo artist. Both my daughters have had tattoos done by him before. One of them's got a tree of life and one's having a full sleeve being done. And in the painting you can see there that is Charlotte, and she's having the sleeve, part of the sleeve done, and that was part of the tattoo that we all had together. And we all went in together. We all stayed there all day. It took all day to do, the three of us. Absolutely loved it. It's something I've been wanting to do forever and never really got around to it. And it was my daughters that says, "Come on, let's go and do it, Dad." So we all sort of came up with an idea that we was going to go with sort of a flowery theme. And I didn't want flowers, so I thought I would have thistles. One representing each daughter. Don't know why I picked the thistles, but I did. And we wanted it to look like a watercolour, so there's no blacks in these inks, in these tattoos at all. It's all done with colour, in a sort of a watercolour effect. They all look really good. We're all very pleased with them. So let me talk a little bit about the painting. I got on really well with Ben, because obviously he's an artist, and I was just absolutely fascinated by what he was doing. And I've lost my track again, because I was going to talk about the painting, wasn't I? And then I started talking about Ben, and so I'll carry on with this. So I was sort of saying, "What inks you got there then? What do you do with that? How do you do this?" And I was watching him, and I says, "Can I take some photos to do a painting?" "Of course you can," he said. "Go for it." So I got my camera out, did a few video clips as well. And it turned out, I kind of already knew this, but it turned out he does all his designs in Procreate. So he says it's revolutionised his design process, because he sort of produces them in Procreate, and they can very quickly email them off to the client, make amends, and sort of take it from there. So I thought it would be a good idea to do the painting in Procreate as well. And I've gone for a layer approach with this, because I've got the background in with the grunge brush, got those colours in, and then I started to paint Ben. But I definitely wanted to paint the tattoos on a different layer. And the reason I wanted to do that, it wasn't because I was worried about disturbing the layer below it. I thought I could paint the arm, get in all the contours and the curves with the shadows at that stage, so sort of get the arm finished as a clean arm, and then create another layer to paint the tattoos over it, and then I would be able to change the opacity, or maybe change the blend mode slightly to blend them into his arm. And I thought that would be the best way to go about that. So I pretty much painted him without his tattoos, finished him as a complete painting, and then created a new layer to go in with the tattoos. So I used my favourite brushes for doing portraits. That's the grunge brush for the background. I then use the turpentine brush, and what I do, whatever brush I'm painting with, I will use that same brush as an eraser and as a blending brush as well. And it's dead simple to use. I picked this tip up watching somebody else's video a couple of weeks ago. It's amazing how much you don't know about a product, even though you've used it for such a long time. I've been painting with Procreate for 2 years now, and I didn't know if you just hold the pen onto, say, the blending icon or the eraser icon, it automatically selects the brush you're using, so it's dead easy to sort of swap and change. You notice I'm using the liquify tool as well to move objects about. So I created a layer for the tattoo, as I said earlier, and then I put a little bit of colour in there. But what I did after a while, I decided to do all of the colour in the tattoo on another layer in between the painting of Ben and the outline of the tattoo. So I got 4 layers if you count the background. So I got 4 layers going in the background, Ben, the colours of the tattoo and some of the shading in, and then the outline of the tattoo. And I found it much easier to work that way. And the old painting only took about 4 hours, I think, something like that. Not too long at all, really. But I enjoyed painting the tattoos. I've done a few tattoo designs before and stuff, but this was like it was different because obviously I'm doing that looseness of a painting, an oil painting, but trying to get it so I'm using the same style as I'm using on the rest of the painting. I didn't want to sort of do this really neat tattoo that looks as though it's been stuck on after. I wanted it to be part of the painting, so I still had to use the same brushes. I was telling you what brushes I was using, and I forgot to actually tell you. So I'll go over that again. I use the grunge brush, the turpentine brush to do most of the painting, and then all of the line work and the fine detail I did with the oil brush. 3 generic brushes, all come with Procreate. None of my own brushes used at all here. And you can see I'd sort of put the shading in on those roses with the sort of ink colour, and then put the red on another layer below it, so it all sort of fit together quite nice. All the blending just sort of appeared like magic, as it were. So carried on with his forearm. And you've got to remember when you're doing something like this that you are not painting. You've got to imagine you're not painting on a flat surface, you're painting on the curve of the arm. So you've got to take that into account. And it's easy to sort of forget that and work as though you're on a flat surface. I think Ben's got a really cool tattoo. So the question is, does it hurt to get a tattoo? I've had it on, which is considered to be one of the most tender parts to get a tattoo, and that's on the inside of my upper arm. And my daughters both were going, "Are you sure you want it there, Dad? Are you sure you want it there? It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt." I said, "That's where I want it. I want it there." So I went for it, and it didn't hurt. I did not feel I did feel a thing. Obviously, there was a tingle, but there was no real pain at all. And Charlotte says to me, "Oh my God, he's putting it on. He's putting it on because Ben could be tattooing. He could be digging into his soul, and he wouldn't make a noise because we're here." And I swear to God, honestly, it wasn't that at all. It actually never really hurt me. So my answer to people then, if they're going to say, does it hurt to get a tattoo? I'm going to say no, absolutely not. It certainly does not hurt anything like having laser treatment on your eyes. I had a torn retina a while back. One or two of you might remember that. I talked about it when I had to sort of slow up my painting and take it steady for a bit, and that a lot more than getting a tattoo. It really was not a bad experience at all. So I felt I needed to memorize, not memorize, that's not the right word. I needed to sort of capture this memory of having the tattoo by doing a painting of Ben, who, by the way, absolutely loves this. I put it on his Instagram, and he really loved it and shared it with everybody. So that was great. So there we go. That is my painting of Ben, the tattoo artist, and I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, big thumbs up as always is much appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, and maybe someday I'll show you the tattoo. Bye.